Okay, 8th grade, so we're back again in our reading packet today. We're just finishing off the second part of that assessment. So today's video will be super short, but the work will take a little bit longer just because it does ask you to do a little bit of lengthy writing here. So we're just going to go over these questions, and then you guys will do them on your own, and then we'll be back in our writing packet tomorrow. So this first question here, this is obviously all of these are based on the story Ted's Champion that we read when we did this on Tuesday. So if you did not watch the video from Tuesday, go back and do that because we go through the story and then go through the first set of questions. And also if you want to hear the story read, you can go back to Tuesday's video because I read it on there. But I'm not going to read it again today because it's still in the previous video. So if you want to hear it read, you can go back and look at that one. So the question here says, which details from the story, Ted's Champion, best support the inference that Mrs. Saunders is a good businesswoman? Use details from the story to support your answer. So first, let's take a look at the actual question. So of course, we're looking for details that best support the idea that Mrs. Saunders is a good businesswoman. Now, what's the word inference mean? We've talked a little bit about this previously. Inference is something that you can assume about that person or an assumption that you can make. So, what ideas support that Miss Saunders is a good businesswoman? Well, obviously, we need to be using the race strategy as always. So, I will go ahead and help you guys start these out. So, we would say some details from the story, or you could start by talking about one detail and then you would say another detail. So you could say one detail from the story that shows that, let's go to the next line, Mrs. Saunders is a good business woman is ... and then you would say is when blank happened or when she said blank, whatever you pull from the story that you decide supports the idea that she's a good businesswoman. Now once you would cite it, so you would put it in quotes and say, oh, for example, when she said, and then put in quotes whatever she said or whatever she did, and then explain how that supports your answer. So you would say, one detail from the story that shows Mrs. Saunders is a good businesswoman is blank. This shows that, and then explain how it showed that she was a good businesswoman. Now, it says details, so that means you need to have at least two details. So you could say another detail is, and then another detail. So let's take a look at number 7 here. For this, I would advise writing one paragraph, so that would be 5 to 7 sentences here, because that's probably what's going to take you to give at least two details from the story. So the notes for a summary need to be arranged correctly into the order in which the events occur in the passage. Indicate the correct chronological order of the events below by writing the numbers 1 to 6 on the blanks before each sentence. So you are just telling me the order in which these happened in. So let's say Pops tells Ted he wants to get rid of Ollie. I'm not saying that that's the right answer, but I'm just saying let's say that it is. Then you would put a 1 here. Okay? So you're just listing it in the order in which it happened. That's what chronological means, is that you're giving it the order that they happened in the story. So what it's going to ask you to do next is which incidents in the story, which you can look back at this little list here because it gives you some examples of things that happen in the story. But it says, which incidents in the story help you infer that Ted is determined? Write a paragraph that includes evidence from the text that shows Ted's determination. So, again, we need to be using the race strategy. I'll put it up here just in case anybody forgets. So we could say one of the incidents in the story that shows Ted's determination is ... and then there's blank. This shows how Ted ... to explain. So you're restating one of the incidents in the story that shows Ted's determination is, then you're answering. So whatever one incident is in the story, that, and then that's also citing, because that's citing evidence, because you're telling us one incident in the story where he shows determination, then you're explaining that evidence. So this shows that Ted was determined because, or this shows how dedicated Ted was to blank, probably has something to do with this horse, just a little bit of a hint there. And then on this one, it says incidents, so you're going to say another incident that shows Ted's determination is blank. Okay, so this is really similar to that first one in terms of how it works. So again, this one would probably just be 4 or 5 sentences, just one paragraph. Now this one is going to be an extended response, so this you have to write at least 3 paragraphs. Okay, so this one's a little bit more lengthy. This is why I split this up into 2 days. So this one says, in the story, Ted has a problem that he needs to solve. Which events and details in the story reveal Ted's character? What decision does he finally make? Write an essay of at least 3 paragraphs using details from the story to explain your answer. So how many sentences is in a paragraph? 5 to 7 sentences. So you need to have 3 paragraphs, 5 to 7 sentences each. I should write each here. In your answer, be sure to explain which events and details reveal Ted's character. Identify Ted's problems in the story and what decision he makes. Use details and events from the story. So here, Ted, we know in the story Ted has a problem he needs to solve, looking at which events, so really similar to the last question, reveal Ted's character, and then what decision does he finally come to. What I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to tell you guys that between the question on 37 and the question on 38, so there's one short answer here. So we have question number 6 and then question number 8. Because this last one is so lengthy, I just think this is a lot of writing. Choose either 7 or 8 and then do 9. So everybody has to do 9, and you can choose whether you'd rather do question 7 or question 6 or question 8, sorry. Everybody needs to do 7 because that's just asking you how to do things in chronological order. So here, you're still using that race strategy, but obviously the race strategy is a little bit more lengthy here. So you need to probably start by telling us what is the problem that Ted needs to solve, and then talk about how he tries and makes attempts to solve that problem, right? What decision does he finally come to at the end is probably going to be in your 3rd paragraph. So you only need to do either question 6 or 8. Pick one of those 2. You don't have to do both. And then you need to do question 7 and question 9, which is 3 paragraphs. So if you guys need any help or have any questions, feel free to ask me. For those of you that are sending in the pictures like you're supposed to, don't worry about sending this. Like, if you want to take the weekend to get this done, that's fine. Just make sure you send this page to me by Monday. Okay? So if you guys have any questions, I'll have those extended evening office hours tonight as well as regular office hours from 11 to 2 today.